Well, brace yourself, because it's Christmas Eve and it seems that Labour has decided to give us all a Christmas present, but unfortunately for us, it's a very, shall we say, incompetent Christmas present, which, let's face it, is going to hit us really, really hard. And I say that because according to this article, it says that Labour is dragging Britain into a recession as growth grinds to a halt post-election. Keir Starmer is warned. Well, thanks Labour, thank you very much. Just as we were just getting a hold on the interest rate going back down to 2 point whatever percent it was, presumably it's now going to go rise faster than I do when I see Amanda Holden on the telly. Actually no, Catherine Jenkins, or actually to be honest either of them will do. I mean, I'm not picky, but to me it shows Labour's sheer incompetence. They're just not ready to govern, are they? I mean, how often were they in opposition shouting down at Boris or Rishi or to even Theresa May or whoever else, saying, oh, we know what to do, or whatever, and then the second they get in, boom, Rachel Reeves drops her budget, along with, of course, Keir Starmer, let's face it, peeing off the whole country with a lot of other decisions he's made, not to mention a load of APs. But anyway, the article says that official figures show that the economy had zero growth between July and September, with economists warning there'll be a risk that the UK could have shrunk in the last 3 months of the year. And Elizabeth Cohen, hope we pronounced that right, she's the Director of Economic Statistics at the ONS, said that the economy was weaker than previously suggested as people cut back on spending in bars and restaurants, and advertising spend also fell. Living standards, though, they were also lower than expected, with GDP, which stands of course for Gross Domestic Product, per head fallen by 0.2% rather than remaining that. Which actually could be quite a big problem, couldn't it? Because if we're not spending, then we're not putting anything into the economy, are we? But just what they said about it then, well, Chancellor Rachel Reeves, she said, the figures show that the challenge we face to fix our economy and to properly fund our public services after 15 years of neglect is huge. Because that's all they ever seem to do, isn't it? Just blame the Tories. However, she faced, according to this, intense criticism that her gloomy warnings had talked down the economy, which personally, I don't know about you, and admittedly I could be wrong, but personally I think that's right, because her warnings didn't exactly help. In fact, how many times have we heard £22 billion black hole, without Labour of course mentioning that £11 billion of that is Ed Miliband's overseas climate emergency, which of course we could do with that, and £9 billion I think it was of them caving into all the unions out there, which, let's face it, is only going to encourage it more, isn't it? But anyway, Simon French, he's the chief economist at Panmure Liberum, hope I pronounced that right, was one of the many voices who warned that a recession couldn't be ruled out. And he said that the biggest risk to the economy was the burden on employers had to be too much too fast. And that is a very good point, isn't it? I mean, yes, our national insurance, the everyday employees' national insurance didn't go up, but the employers' one did. And that is going to cause quite a big impact on businesses' profits and therefore costs on us in general, isn't it? Mr. French also said the Chancellor's messaging over a painful budget was entirely self-defeating on the mission of economic growth, and those words came in a cost in a way that they didn't in opposition, which, to be honest, is what I was saying earlier, isn't it? For far too long, Labour had been making all these backup plans in opposition without the need to plan for contingencies in case they were wrong, because obviously they weren't in government in time, were they? And get this, a slew of new surveys since the budget's £24 billion tax raid on businesses has shown the biggest plunge in confidence since the early days of the pandemic as firms halt investment, hiring staff and slashing jobs, which is only going to defeat us more, isn't it? And it's hardly going to be growth at all, in my opinion. Andrew Griffith, the Shadow Business Secretary, said Labour have really killed, plucked and cooked the UK economic goose. So I think that's an understatement. And he's not done there, because he also added that a summer of trash talk in the economy, an autumn tax hike and budget, and now a winter of discontent with a recession a distinct possibility, which I don't know about you, but I'm just wondering how bad, if any, this recession is going to hit us, because is it going to be another 2008 all over again? It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? It follows, though, the Confederation of British Industry warning that the UK economy was headed for the worst of all worlds. A steep decline in growth next year as firms cut investment and hiring after a battering from the budget. Labour really do need to take their heads out of their bums and reverse this employer national insurance as quickly as possible. I mean, let's face it, it's been done before, hasn't it, with Jeremy Hunt when he was Chancellor. So there's no reason why Rachel Reeves can't do another swift U-turn, but let's face it, that wouldn't make Labour look too good, would it? Even though, of course, in my opinion, that is the right thing to do. Let me know what you think. The threat, though, it says, of inflation creeping higher again as a result of the budget will also mean interest rates will stay higher, which will be another drag on investment and consumer spending. How much more of this will we have to endure before either Keir Starmer gets a swift verbal kick in the gonads by a confidence vote and gets voted out, or we get another election. I mean, yes, admittedly, there isn't another election planned until 2029. However, we've seen early elections before, so we might, who knows, see another one.